lost the video. It says it's that you had stopped it. So just to explain why I'm not there. No, I think what everyone's said in the Swamiji is very evocative for me of feeling both the connection to people and the ways that I disconnect from being alive, from being part of this amazing experience of being alive. And I've been thinking about love is definitely the growth for me. What make love is what makes my love is what is the unifying element in my life throughout everything, and that I have great compassion or appreciation for why that gets destroyed in people's lives, I guess you'd say. Why some people seem to continue to long for union, and where other people in the world completely cut off from their humanity. If we feel our humanity, then we can feel a connection to one another. And I like the idea that now is the time, much as we're doing this morning, that we can feel our connection along with our diversity.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Anyone like to speak next? Ashok, I see, I don't see your video, but I see your square there with your name on it. Would you like to speak next?
Actually, I'm mostly listening, and
okay.
And actually, I'm doing a babysitting for my friend's dog as well. So I'm just listening everyone, and I'm enjoying it actually, and understanding what Swamiji said and various perspectives from various people. So it's kind of fulfilling. I'm just enjoying the meeting actually and learning at the same time. And then doing this dog babysitting, and yeah.
So the dog is part of this circle too. So thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah. Scott, how about you? Let me unmute you. Here we go. Okay, good. We're good.
I'm still listening and feeling what's emerging within, and I haven't found a thought that I feel like expressing it.
Maybe we can circle back to you later. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jessica. Okay, there you are. Let's unmute you. There we go. You're good.
So my first reaction was also Wendy's first reaction, and I'm sorry, somebody else, that love is the unifying thing that unifies all religions. But then as the conversation has developed, what I have had the sense is that it's that for me, I think it leans more towards life. That this act of being alive is a definition that is truly universal between practitioners of all faiths, and particularly from a mystical Jewish perspective, that life is permeated with the essence, the grand divine presence that is in all life and is in all of us, is as a unifying factor of everything. Thanks.
Thank you, Jessica. So who else? Barbara Mori, either of you are ready to speak? Oh, Barbara, okay, let's unmute you. Okay. All right, who is that? Oh, echo.
Hello?
Barbara.
Yes, hi. As the conversation is going, where I would like to be and to direct us perhaps is in questions, in not knowing, in wonder. And so the ocean, the one, we could be underneath the ocean where there's just one, but then the questions and not the answers. That's where I'm sitting and wanting to direct us into total not knowing, where the mind stops. Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara. Anybody else? Maury?
I think what I'm sitting at with RAA is a prior discussant, namely the role of fundamentalism that separates rather than unifies, and why we end up with such fundamentalism in every single religion that I can think of has that segment. And in some, it seems stronger than others. It's in Judaism and Hinduism and Catholicism, in Islam, certainly right now. With such a strong dividing force, how do we, those of us who don't join the fundamentalist side, overcome that?
Thank you, Maury. So let's see. Who has Charles? Chuck. Let me unmute you, sir. There you go. There you are.
Thank you, Swamiji. The reason I consider myself on an integral path, which is for me the path of the heart, is because I realize that when I'm on a path that emphasizes the mind, it necessarily leads to division. So whenever there's a faction of a religion that emphasizes dogma and doctrine, it necessarily leads to division with other religions, just necessarily so, because we will always have different ideas, different words, different ways of carving up the reality. And so I've come to emphasize the path of the heart. And so I also, for me personally, I emphasize love, but actually as I'm listening here, and also in the last few months, I've had a little change of view on the matter. I think the path of the heart is aspirational. I don't think everybody's willing to sort of go the extra step of love, but I think in terms of chit and sat, we all can recognize that we have consciousness. We can all recognize that we share being in common, and that is a common ground that none of us can deny. I think it's important to take the extra step of valuing love, because that's really what actively acknowledges the oneness and actively tries to intensify the oneness, and love actively tries to value the distinction and the difference, because it really, for me, it always has to be both the ocean and the waves. If it's one or the other, it's not really seeing things as they are from my own perspective. And I think love is one of the true great powers that emphasizes that unity, and also acknowledges and affirms the uniqueness of every being and every religion. And so that's why I want to go the extra step of being on the path of love. But if that step can't be taken, at least we can acknowledge that we're all beings, and that we all share consciousness, and let's celebrate that. As far as the question of fundamentalism, I think it's about fear and insecurity, and the unwillingness to live with fear and insecurity and not knowing, and it's wanting to have certainties. And so I think it's really important to be able to accept that we can't answer the questions, that's okay.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Scott, you are now ready to speak. Okay, let's unmute you. Great. Okay.
Something that Chuck said spurred this. And then I reflected back to Somek's comment that to maintain your humor in the presence of failure is a sign that you're on the karma yoga path in a good way. And that made me think, well, yeah, are we in the waves or are we in the water? Is it the water or the waves? And I thought, well, play, which also implies levity and humor, is that if consciousness can just play, which also implies childlikeness and lack of judgment, not lack of discernment, but lack of judgment, so that you can play with what you're discerning and distinguishing, that you live in a space that does not hone in on just one truth or doctrine, but can entertain others and other viewpoints with an open heart. So that for me felt like a connective to so much what other people have already spoken today. So the humor, the notion of humor and levity and play is a fundamental, to me, almost like a fundamental characteristic of consciousness, is that it doesn't rest in one. It can comprise or comprehend all.